Hi everyone, this is Killshot from 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 9, Rick Grimes' Death Dinner. This is a brand new article, really good information, and I know many of you are watching the marathon, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but every single day seems like some more information comes out. Not sure how I feel about this article because I feel like it should have been released a couple weeks from now because there are some really good bombshell clues that is in this. So how many people, I see a little bit of the comments, how many people are watching the marathon right now as we speak? You're going back and checking out some episodes from days gone by. So I saw a few people having a discussion. Let's see. Come on, admit to it. Admit to it. If I only get half your attention, I guess that's all I can ask for with The Walking Dead on television. There's a few. All right. Some other people are like, you know what, I'm pausing this joint because we got some 999 Army stuff to talk about tonight. And yes, we do. So I got some good questions. You know, ultimately, we're going to get down to the point of, are we closer to an admission? And I think we're closer to a prediction that we made. And I'll enlighten you on that in just a couple minutes. So let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about this interview that's out there. I do want to give credit where credit is due. EW.com, Walking Dead Nerd, good stuff in that article. And we're going to break down that article because it's awesome. Unlike our friends over at TV Guide, we do like to cite our sources. So EW.com had kind of a backstage pass to Rick's last couple days of filming and just some interesting stuff that came out of that. How much they know and how much they unveil. But I learned some information from their article that is not even posted on the spoiler sites. It will be quickly. You can believe that, and other people will take off and run with this. But it is this is really good stuff. So I'll tell you a little bit about what I learned with Andrew Lincoln and how serious he takes this role more so than other people. It was very descriptive. And I'll add a link to it so you guys can check it out. I definitely recommend reading it to make sure they get all the credit they deserve on this because this is exclusive stuff. But they talk about how he has a pattern, to sort of get himself into character. And in this particular, the last day of filming, he's more intense, more, talking to himself, cussing himself, stopping everything because he just wants to get this perfect. But I got to give you a couple quotes, and this is something he said after he filmed the final scene and they cut. And they said that every time they filmed something toward the end, it was like Norman Reedus coming up, like, yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. They were celebrating almost every single scene that he did because they knew they were watching the end of a legacy as well. Now, you could still be on the fence about it. You could say, okay, is this leading up to his death? Is this the fact that they know he's leaving? More on that in one moment. But here's a quote, and I want you to respond to this quote. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to read it to you the first time. If you have, I'm going to read it out loud, and I want you to respond of what you think this means. So it's just a couple lines, so be ready. I need to get you into character, so everybody, please zone in on this. This is a quote from Andrew Lincoln after he filmed the final take. I'm scared. Man, I'm nervous. F. It's over, man. This is it. It's over. So that is, I just want you to kind of be in the context of that and tell me over. I'll add a little bit more context to it in a couple seconds. But I know some people, when they read that is the reality, right? Permanent. It's final. It hit him really hard. The fact he says, I'm scared, I'm nervous, it's over, that this is not Rick Grimes talking. Yeah, Drama King, I'm not going to say it. I got to super chat this. So I'm going to get some more thoughts on this, but this is Pete D. Pete D, thank you so much for the super chat. And Pete D says, you're hurting us with this info, Kills, because, Pete, it is emotional, but I think I might give you something that you like in just a couple minutes. Because when I see this and he says it's over, and the fact that you've got a reporter, a writer from EW.com on there. Now, look, I know there's only so much they can say, and he's not going to say, okay, after Rick gets devoured by zombies, and we quote him as this. But once again, I don't think they know. I don't think they know how it goes down. And I think this adds a lot of credibility to what we talked about earlier. And here's why. Because a little bit of hidden information listed in there. So the first thing you guys are thinking is, wait a minute, if a reporter is invited to see Rick's final scene, then he's going to know how Rick dies. But remember, I said I think they left it open-ended, and he came back to film the ending because they didn't want the reporters and all the extras. All right, number one, if that was Rick's final scene, there's no way in hell you're inviting reporters so they can leak it out there. It's just not going to happen. So they intentionally invited people to see what appeared to be Rick's final scene. And it probably was. It was the final scene with cast. But I will bet you right now that when Rick came back, they filmed something that was completely away from the public. Does Norman Reedus know? Yes. Does Jeffrey Dean Morgan know? Yes. Do all the reporters and the people that were there watching? Absolutely not. No, and I'm not saying it's a scam. What I'm saying is they will get to see some element of the final scene, but not the actual ending for Rick Grimes. So let me tell you what is listed in an article which really, really makes it hit home. So as they're talking to Andy about Rick's fate, this is Andy's words. How will Rick go out? How will the show forge on without him? Lincoln remains predictably mum on that one. And this is Lincoln's quote. There was a certain sense of, how do you exit a show that is going to continue? Pete D., I'm going to give you hope here. I thought long and hard about it, and I came up with an idea that is hopefully going to work. We'll see how it goes. So according to this, Andrew Lincoln wrote his own exit to the show. I'm going to read this again. This is super, super important. Now, why would they even put that little nugget of information in there if they already knew how Andy died? And when he said, he wouldn't say Andy stays predictably mum on the topic. He wouldn't even say anything about Andy not talking about it, because it'd be like, hey, yeah, guess what? I saw the way it ends, and the whole article would have taken a different context. But the writer obviously doesn't know, and when he's talking to Andy, Andy is not telling him, which is why he says he remains predictably mum on that one. So once again, I'm going to read this to you guys. So Andy says, how will Rick go out, and how will the show forge on without him? Lincoln remains predictably mum on that one. And this is, quote, there was a certain sense of, how do you exit a show that's going to continue? I thought long and hard about it, and I came up with an idea that hopefully is going to work. We'll see how it goes. So that, to me, takes a whole different perspective. And then right afterwards, ironically enough, Andy says, well, it's not truly over. I hope to be one of the people yelling action one day instead of merely performing it. I'm going to shadow a director. So he threw that in there just almost instantaneously. So definitely end it on his terms. But if it was as simple as Rick Grimes dying, do we really think that it would be, I had to think about it long and hard and figure out how the show can carry over? I would argue no. All right. this is interesting as well. So this apparently was the last time that Rick filmed with cast. And the writer was invited to this as well. This is his death dinner, which might have been more appropriate to be an exit dinner. So once again, I'm going to throw it out there. The cast did not know how Rick leaves, but they knew that he was leaving and not filming in front of cast. So here you go. It's the Last Supper, a table of treats including a cake shaped like Rick Grimes' iconic cowboy boots and a giant skeleton arm holding a heart with a note that reads, "With love, your AMC family," sits in the middle. Now the skeleton arms, okay, that could be bad. But I'm not going to go into what they ate. But they had sheriff badges to honor the occasion. And then Lincoln said, "I just want to say I've had so much fun on this episode." Looks around and says, "The most fun I've had since the very first one. There's not enough time to thank everyone." He loves everybody and wants to thank everyone for their blood, sweat, and tears. Everybody went wild, and they'd like him to keep going. He could, but sometimes it's best to leave people wanting a little bit more. So I think this is the writer actually, listen to this. The writer, I think, actually gave us, if they knew anything, which I'm saying I don't think they do, there were two subtle hints in this article. The crowd goes wild, they'd like him to keep going, and he could, but sometimes it's best to leave people wanting a little bit more. Clue. And one additional clue. And this goes back to the very beginning when they said, Andrew Lincoln is set to ride off into the sunset. Now, they don't say Rick Grimes rides off into the sunset, but they are giving subtle clues that maybe he rides off in the sunset, maybe it's best to leave audience wanting more. That would be one of the best spoilers ever if the writer of EW.com was finding a way to sort of send us some Morse code. So Denise, I'm thinking this dinner was on set. I don't think the specifics of that was listed. I think it was right there where they were filming. So Mike says, why would AMC advertise final episodes? Because they are his final episodes. I think there's some things getting lost in the whole scheme of things. I'm going to go back to, if you guys were here when we did, how many people were here last night? Because we went through some extensive news last night. And I think we made one of the boldest predictions we've ever made. And I feel really, really good about it. So those of you that were here last night, most of what we talked about was news and a play on words. And how it is very, very real that they are the final episodes of the season. And they're Rick Grimes, not of the season, E-Beach, Rick Grimes' final episodes ever. I'm totally in agreement that Rick Grimes will probably never set foot on the Walking Dead TV series ever again. But I think there's something that gets explained between the time Rick leaves to the second time skip. And in that period of about 3 or 4 years could be the movie version and the explanation of what happens to Rick Grimes. I certainly think the big news they're going to announce is going to be a Walking Dead movie. Rick films. Rick needs something iconic. He needs something for his legacy. Apparently, he wrote it. The cast is there. Rick leaves, and it's open-ended. Captured. Something happens. Maybe Whisper. He doesn't come back on the series, and we get our answer on the movie screen. I absolutely could support that. All right, we got Jimmy's jamming in the house with a super chat. Jimmy says, Kills, what do you think of maybe a Fear the Walking Dead reboot, bringing Rick and Morgan together in a totally new show, any with Andy sometimes directing, any chance? Jimmy, I don't think Rick wants to do television. So, and I think it's a fair assessment. But I have to take all these facts at face value. If Rick says he wants to spend time with his family and he's done on the TV show, then I believe that. And they could certainly bring the studio to him. E-Beach, let me say this. Matthew, I'm sorry, my man, but I'm going to have to just block you because you're posting a fake spoiler that has been debunked like many, many times. So I'm going to give you a timeout, and hopefully you'll regroup and participate in our chat. One, you're trying to post a spoiler, which it's not a spoiler chat, number one. Number two, you're posting a spoiler that is completely false. So, one, not cool. Number two, not even close to being cool. All right? So hopefully after about 3 or 4 minutes, you'll kind of regroup and join us for what we want to talk about tonight. All right. I got Super Chatter in the house. Valar. With the delayed introduction, Valar says, Hello, 999 Army. Kill, Steph, Kells, Emmy, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, patrons, and of course, all the Super Chatters. And there have been several Super Chatters already, so thank you so much with that. So let me jump in to a little bit more about Jimmy's Jammin'. So, Jimmy, one other thing that I have to point out, and we talked about a little bit of this last night, and it does go to what you're saying with the possible spinoff. So, Andy told Scott Gimple in Season 4 that Season 8 sounds like a good number. Season 8, I'm done. This was in Season 4. He told him this. This had nothing to do with Carl. This had nothing to do with anything except his family. He said, I think I can make it 8 seasons, and then I want to spend time with my family. This is Andy saying this, okay? So we can cut some of the conspiracy theories. So he thought about it, and at the end of 8 said he wanted to have a more proper exit, or either it was a combination of that, and they talked him into doing a few more episodes to transition, to let him go out on his own terms. So apparently he's going out on his own terms. Now, could he have a change of heart, Jimmy, in 4 or 5 years and decide he wants to do TV again and do a spinoff? If he's alive, yes. If he's dead, no. Then it'd literally be The Walking Dead. But what they could also do is leave it open-ended and just put him in a movie as a summary. His relationship with Rick Grimes is far from over. Rick Grimes' final episodes. Tune in. Watch 5 episodes. You'll see Rick Grimes. And taking The Walking Dead to the big screen, hey, Star Trek TV show, Star Trek big screen. If you could take this TV series and do a few movies, I know most of our audience would watch. All right, with that being said, as we call in a couple more people, I need to solicit the help of the 999 Army. Everybody here, do me a favor. 250, 300, 400 people in this room. It's going to be 1,000 people watch this before the end of the broadcast. You guys slap that like button. Come on, Army. Show a little bit of love. Show a little bit of support. And make sure once this video goes live, you also leave comments as well. I think in trying to read between the lines when Andy said, I'm scared, I'm nervous, it's over, I think that was probably more symbolic of the relationships of the people that he works with on a day-to-day basis. I think he knows the importance of the legacy of Rick Grimes. I think he understands the importance of the TV show. So I got one more thing here that we don't talk about on a regular basis. This is real. This is as real as The Walking Dead gets. All right. I need everybody here. We do this from time to time. I need everybody's complete focus because you got to participate in this. This is important. Okay. Every one of you in the stream right now, and everyone watching the playback, you're Rick Grimes. You're Andy Lincoln. You have this iconic role. Okay? Your family's important. And all these people you work with are important. They're your second family. So I got a question. First question. If you leave the show, are the ratings going to go down? All right? Remember, you're not you. You're Andrew Lincoln right now. You're Andrew freaking Lincoln. And if you leave, are some viewers going to leave? Are the ratings going to go down? Okay. Second follow-up question. If you die and you are never, ever to be heard from again, all you Andrew Lincolns out there, all you people that are playing the role of Rick Grimes, if you die and you are never to be heard from again, are you going to lose even more viewers? Are more people going to tune out to The Walking Dead? All right, I got 2 more questions for you. These are important. If you were to leave and the story was somewhat open-ended and there was a small chance that people still talk about Rick Grimes and there's a small chance the character could come back, that the character does not have a complete termination, do you keep some of those viewers, a bigger percentage of those viewers, by having an exit strategy without actually dying? Some, right? Okay. One last question. Do you love all those people that you work with on an everyday basis as if they are your family? Do you care about their well-being? Do you care about their future employment? Do you care that they have jobs long after you're gone? Then I just got one question for you, Andrew Lincolns of the world. If you wrote your own exit and you wrote a death scene, then if those people lose their jobs, it is your fault. It is absolutely your fault because you chose to leave. You chose the method of exit. You knew the consequences whenever you left. And now, if those people are without jobs, I'm sorry. I'm going to bring it with gloves off. Listen to me. I'm taking the gloves off. I love him. I love his role. I love his character. This is as absolute real and as heated as you're ever going to see me. But he is stating right there for the record, I said I was going to leave. I wanted the show to carry on. I wanted to do it in a way that honors his legacy. You have the right to leave. You have the right to be with your family. You're not solely responsible for all those other people. You don't have to put food in all of their mouths. But when you write your own ending, then you do. Then you absolutely do. You own it. So if you die, and if you wrote that in, and you think that the viewers are going to like that, and they're going to support that, and the show doesn't make it a couple more years, that's on you, buddy. There you go. Now, I'm taking bits and pieces from this article. I further think it underscores that he won't die. I really do. I've felt that way. I've felt that way for a bunch of different reasons. I felt that way with, word that was getting out there, with the hope factor. I can't get away from this is a choice that that Scott Gimple, that Andy Lincoln have got together, and they had to sit down and say exactly what we did. If they were writing this and they were putting this out there for the viewers, they had to ask the exact same question we did several weeks ago and said, what does Rick Grimes represent? He represents hope. And if you kill hope, you kill the show. If he's not a cure, how many times have I asked you guys, what are they living for? What's the purpose of them continuing to go on? You either need to find a cure, or you wake up every day and you say, what's my point of this existence? You have to have hope that something else is going to change, that something's going to get better. And if you kill that hope, not only do they kill it in the interactions with the characters on the show, they kill it in a good percentage of their viewers. That's real. It's real when, look, if 100 people tell me, and it's much more, but let's say out of 100 people, 50 tell me that they're going to stop watching the show if Andy's not on the show. Now, realistically, people lie. It's not going to be 50. If 50 people tell me, I believe 25, because I think 25% of almost all people are just full of crap. But I'm just sorry. I'm a very skeptical person when it comes to believing. But if 50 people tell me they're going to leave, I believe 25. But even still, that still represents hope. And these writers know that, and the actors know that. And they're not all millionaires. There are characters, if you look at net worth, that are just scratching the surface. I don't know if Tom Payne's a millionaire. He might be now, but I don't know that he was. I don't know if Austin Emilio is a millionaire. I mean, these are jobs. This is security for many of them. So don't assume that everybody that shows up on The Walking Dead is just worth millions. Some are worth a few $100,000. Some are making their way. Some will be if the show lasts for a few more seasons. So that's ultimately my point, is something like Hope could be the difference between 5 seasons and 2 seasons. Well, Dave, that was a little bit taken out of context as well. It said 10 more seasons of the Walking Dead universe. And that was not necessarily meant to apply that this show would be 10 years or Fear the Walking Dead would be 10 years. It was more of an overview of what they expect. And I hope it's this show. Rhetorical question incoming. Who decides whether the show lasts 10 more years? Who has the say in that? Who has the ultimate say in that? Absolutely, Joseph. We do. Not at all. Drama King, there's no way. The showrunner is going to run the show as long as it is popular and as long as people are buying Coca-Cola. Whatever the ad. We do. We watch it. We support it. They will feed it. Now, on rare occasion, they will shut down a show at its peak. But most of the time, if a show is exciting, then they're going to keep pumping it up. So there is no doubt that a percentage of fans will leave when Rick Grimes leaves. I'm going to put that at a very small percentage if it's done the right way. And I'm going to give you some numbers. These are not statistically proven, but I just want to kind of give you my feeling. And I know some people are going to argue way, way high. You know, it's more. I'm just giving you my take on interactions with you, interactions from people that message me, comments that I see on an everyday basis. If Rick Grimes dies, I think by the end of the season, they lose 25% of their audience. I think the first 5 episodes will be up there extremely high because they are hyping it as Rick's final episodes. So I'm going to say 25% of the audience. So if you've got, let's say 6 million watching, what, 1.5? This is, as I said some of you will go higher. And I already see it's more 35, it's 50. We can debate it. I'm giving an example. Except for Floss Boss. That's absolutely ludicrous. There's no way in hell 75% of the fans leave the show. They would have less people watching this show than Fear the Walking Dead. So, you know, a little bit of... I've thought through some of these numbers. And I'm not out there calling everybody and doing a survey. What I'm saying is, I see a lot of comments from a lot of my viewers. So, you know, we can debate 30, 35. But anyway, 25%. Let's just go with that. So you lose 1.5 million viewers if Rick Grimes dies. If Rick leaves the show, and it is done the right way, and it is nice, and it is cementing his legacy, I say lose half. I say they only lose 12.5%. Which would still give you 87.5% of your audience. 700, 800,000 people? Maybe. It's still an impact. You can't get over the loss of Andrew Lincoln. If Tom Brady were to retire, and I know a lot of you are Patriot fans, some of you aren't, don't just assume that people are going to show up to watch Bill Belichick. Don't assume they're going to show up to watch Hightower or Josh Gordon or whatever. You don't replace Andrew Lincoln. It's collateral damage. But if you can write a nice story and you keep 87 to 90% of your viewing audience, then you have a chance to bring those 10% back. I'm going to get back to that in 1 second because I'm going to tell you a way I think they can do even more and have even less damage. So Stephen Chip says, we keep hearing that Rick's death will be epic and meaningful. Who here thinks any death could be satisfying when it comes to Rick Grimes? Stephen, one, we have not confirmed anywhere that it's Rick's death. We keep hearing Rick's exit will be epic and brutal and have purpose. But I think the follow-up point that you made, absolutely, who here thinks that any Rick death would be epic? We've spent, and I know you're fairly new to the channel, but months ago, we spent hours debating and talking about any scenario that would be satisfying as far as a Rick death. And there were very few. The only one that we somewhat, I would say universally, but I was going to say somewhat universally, which would be an oxymoron, so no, that we mostly agreed on was a scene, how it played out, that Rick would be possibly saving Negan, would give his life, and would see these flashbacks of characters along the way, the white horse, Shane sort of riding away, and a symbolic message. And mostly we talked about it. We said, yeah, you know what, that would be okay. There was no slam dunk. There was nothing that people walked away saying, yes, I want Rick to die, and that'd be the greatest Rick death. So Angela Kang is trying to do her best to portray it the right way. Greg Nicotero is filming it, trying to do his best. Andy Lincoln is involved in it and wanted a Rick exit. So I don't know if we can't agree here. I don't know that there's any way that they could agree that it would be fulfilling for any of us. So I think there's damage. The question is, look, we would all be naive to think there is no scenario possible where they gain more viewers after Andy's gone. There's none. Zero probability of that happening. Just because he's awesome. And like I said, we can debate 30, 40, 20, 15. But there are some things that you can do to start to get them back. So the point at this level is you lose as few as possible, and then you introduce a couple good characters. You hope the story, with the Whispers is a good story, They are going to be a great villain. But here's my question. Hypothetical. I know they're not all going to die. But let me just throw this out there. So for sake of argument, Andy's dead. Maggie's dead. Daryl's dead. Negan's dead. Carol's dead. Okay, for sake of argument. Any of you want to tune in to see how the Whisperers kill Enid? Anybody give a damn about that? Anybody want to tune in to see how the Whisperers kill Eugene? Anybody want to tune in to see... I mean, you get where I'm going with this, hopefully. If you don't have star power on the show, nobody's tuning in for that. So all this hype about the Whisperers being the worst enemy of all time, if you don't have some people that can live through it, if you don't have some cat and mouse going on, nobody cares about your Whisperers. And then you've got catastrophe. I mean, you've got something that you'll never recover from. And I'm sorry, Michonne as well. And Ezekiel. I mean, not to slight other characters on the show, but hopefully you get kind of where I'm going with that. Well, E-Beach, here's the thing. Yes and no. So I understand your point. But if you lose your audience because of your star power and you're rebooting, you're going to reboot to an audience of 1.5 to 2 million. When Walking Dead in its peaks was 9 and 10 million people, 2 million is an epic fail. Even if people start to tune back in, okay, yeah, we're up to 2.5 million. Then all the headlines aren't going to be, Walking Dead goes from 1.5 million to 2.5 million. It's going to be, at its height, it was 10 million, and now it's all the way back down to 2.5 million, even with a good story. And I'm not here to blame Andy and criticize him for leaving. He has a right to leave. I am here to criticize him if he writes his own death, because I think it's just naive. I think it'd be naive of him to think that that's not going to have a bigger impact. Whatever numbers you want to use. If you want to take my numbers and say 25% will stop watching when he dies, 12.5% would stop watching if he left, take your numbers. Some people are saying 40% leave if he dies, maybe 20, 25. Still, you're talking about viewerships in millions of people, and millions of people that watch ads, and millions of people that buy those products, and the advertising dollars, and so on and so forth. And if you don't make the advertising dollars, you do cheesy things like Fear the Walking Dead did the other day and have that cop car spin around in a 2-second clip when it wasn't even a real cop car. You have bad CGI, and you don't pay the actors what the actors need to be paid, and you have this, you're not going to recapture people, I don't think, in my opinion, on the story alone. Jason, correct. But the difference is, with Glenn, and Jason says, when we thought Glenn was dead, the writers made an announcement he'd be back. They had to. They did immediate damage control. They didn't say, tune in for Glenn's final episodes. They wanted to make crystal clear of what happened. With Rick, this is a victory tour, and it is not a scam, because I'm not, the eternal pessimist, but it is an advertising technique to get people reeled in. And if you're hyping this up as Rick's final episodes, it better be Rick's final episodes. Because otherwise, you're just lying to people. You're manipulating people. And that's not the way the show operates in my experience. I think they've been fair to viewers. They've written a really good story. people that haven't watched in a little bit of time, they are going to watch to see what happens with Rick. My question is going to be, are they just going to watch to stop watching? You pack this house, you better put a good product on the field. So if they're saying, tune in, Rick's final episode, you're going to want to see this, All right. So I love these hypotheticals and really putting you in the situation. It's the only way I can fully articulate it. So now you're not Andy Lincoln anymore. Pete M., that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying his final episodes does not mean that he dies. Remember, there's several different ways he can exit. Super chat time. We got Jennifer Flaherty. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Jennifer says, love this channel and the 999 Army. And you know what, Jennifer? I love that super chat, especially when I'm like fired up and I'm heated over a topic. Because I am. I'm pretty passionate about this tonight. Hopefully you guys can hear the passion. But Pete M., one thing you got to remember when I say that he can't come back, it's because they're hyping it as Rick's final episodes. So he's got to exit one way or another. I don't think he'll return. But I'm not saying he will return. I'm saying not having him die. There's a big difference. Remember, the concept of Rick Grimes, to me, needs to carry on in some way or another. Exactly. There you go. This guy gets it. Germ to worm. The hope factor. The hope factor is what you have to do. Look, we know he ain't coming back. But in the back of our minds, the fact that he could come back is a little extra drive. The fact that we know he's out there in the universe somewhere is a little bit of that drive. The fact that he's dead is a ending. So let me give this scenario, maybe it'll make a little bit more sense, okay? Now, none of you are the 999 Army. I pulled your 999 Army badge away from you. I'm sorry. I had to do it. And none of you are Andy Lincoln anymore. What you are is you're one of those disgruntled Walking Dead people that said, I'm going to quit watching. If they kill Abraham, I'm not watching anymore. They kill Glenn, I'm not watching. And you did. You held to your word. Okay? If they stab Spencer, I'm not watching anymore. I love Spencer. Okay. That's you right now. You're the person that stopped watching 2 seasons ago. And you turn on the TV and you're like, your friend calls you up and it's like, hey, did you hear Kills talking about sport? Nah, you know what? I stopped watching 2 seasons ago. Yeah, but I stopped watching. Did you know these are Rick's final? Wait, what? Yeah, this is Rick's final episodes. Yeah, I read the comic. I'm kind of interested in that. I want to see how it plays out. So that's you. That's each and every one of you right now. You quit watching. You casually, you have water cooler talk. You talk about it. But then you just found out it's Rick's final episodes. So you're going to tune back in. Because you don't hear about it. You don't want to read it in the news. You're coming back. You're going to watch it. You're one of those couple million people that used to watch and you don't watch anymore. Now my real question here. You start watching and you watch 5 episodes just to see Rick wander into a herd and get devoured by a bunch of walkers. The silence is intentional. Let me say that again. You stopped watching 2 seasons ago, and AMC is putting channels in the middle of football games to say, tune in for Rick Grimes' final episodes, and you come back, and you want to see how it all ends, and you get to watch Rick wander and get devoured by a bunch of walkers. Epic, right? Not even close to being epic. What a joke. What an absolute embarrassment that would be. To AMC, to the writers, you're getting all these people excited about something. You better deliver. You better put something out there. You're not only going to lose the people that came back, they're going to be so angry, they're going to start negatively recruiting. Why did I even come back and watch this stupid crap? That's why I stopped leaving in the first place. That's what you're going to hear. Not only are the people that came back going to be upset, but they're going to have to, the people that are loyal are going to have to hear it from those people over and over again. So hold on a second. I got a super chat because I got June Smith in the house super chatting. June says, the leak should have never happened. It should have been left as a surprise. I would have settled for that much better. June, here's the thing, is the leak always happens because there are spoiler sites strictly devoted to stalking and taking pictures and getting copies of things and posting them. And some could call that hypocritical that I say that. Here's the difference I would say about our channel. Do we talk about spoilers when they're confirmed? Absolutely, we do. Are we the ones out there with the cameras and the binoculars and, looking up people's travel schedule? Absolutely not. The reason we talk about spoilers is because they become public. And when they become public and other people are starting to get them, we talk about them. But if I had my way, there would not be spoilers. If I had my way, we would only do predictions and we would do our CSI and we would analyze things and I have more fun doing the predictions and hanging out and talking about the psychology of The Walking Dead than I do by saying, all right, hey, everybody, this is what's going to happen in scene 1, scene 2. We do that because it's out there. So hopefully that I agree with you. I wish it were different, but it's not. And here we are. If you guys watch if you watch football and you see the State Farm commercial between Aaron Rodgers and his agent Gabe, and he says, here we are. I was not expecting to get a rival today. All right, got Jason Mixologist Daily says, I can see it now. I can see clearly now what really happened to Rick Grimes, The Walking Dead movie 2020. Exactly. Jason, that is the super chat, and that is exactly what we were trying to do with that. And I think that's the value of the time skip. And I also think Andy taking this from a series to the big screen would be a big deal. Hey, maybe it'd be in select theaters. I would love for it to be in every theater and to see if they could make like a really cool Walking Dead movie that sucked everybody back in. But, maybe they can, maybe they can't. I do think that's the big news, though. Well, Pete, it would take a couple years to do it. But without a confirmation of death, it keeps the show going. And if you have that time skip, you could look at it one of two ways. You could say, wait a minute. Did something happen to Rick in those 5 years? Obviously it did, but did he die? Or you could come back and say, did they leave the door open after the movie to bring him back? It would still plant that seed. Exactly, Bambi. See, now you guys are You're getting it. I thought we were clear on this last night. Maybe we weren't. Let me recap though for the people, because I gave 5 bullet points last night of why I think The Walking Dead, and I know some of you didn't catch the whole thing, but it's exactly what you guys are starting to talk about. Look, Rick Grimes' final episodes means he won't be on the TV show. Doesn't mean they won't make a movie. Rick Grimes dying is a termination. It is bad. It is bad for the show. It is bad for the people that remain on the show. There's no positive to that. But Rick Grimes open-ended could transition to a big screen movie. Also, Bambi, as we did mention this last night, the sneak peeks last year was testing the waters. I feel it was testing the waters of how many people would go out and watch. I had some of you that are like, Kills, I'm going to be streaming from the movie theater. I love that, by the way. But I think that was a good test. And with the movie, if it's done the right way, it's a win-win for everybody. And maybe they kill him in the movie. I mean, people, nobody likes that. Anytime I suggest it in any capacity, it's like, no, you had us there for a minute. Thank you, Rhonda DeLuca. Rhonda DeLuca says, just wanted to say, y'all are my favorites. And this is why we have a 999 Army. This is why we get together to talk it through. Floss Boss, I am not going to confirm that he would die in a movie. But what I am going to say is, if he didn't die on a television show, and it was a tragic type of movie that told a good story, and he died in the movie, I think I'd be okay with it. I think I would be more okay seeing him die on a movie screen rather than die on my television screen. I do feel like it would be a better exit. The Walking Dead nerd, I don't know if that 999 emoji has been used in a super chat. If it has, it hasn't happened often. So first of all, I'll give you a shout out for using the 999 emoji in the super chat, and also say a 999 Army trip to the movies. Let's go. I guess we could stream it. No, that gets you in trouble. Backtrack. This is Kills from 999 Gaming. I did not suggest that we would go into a movie, and I know piracy is a crime, and it is $250,000 fine and up to a lot of years in jail. So that would not happen. I would not do that. And the reason I know is because it's like it's a warning on the front of like every movie you've ever watched. And then we would have 999 Gaming, 999 Spoilers, 999 Dead, 999 Sports, and that would be our latest one. It would be called 999 Prison. Yeah, I don't want to do that one. We'll stick to what we got. So really quickly, we got a couple minutes left, and awesome participation. I appreciate just the passion tonight. Like I said, people are going to go back, they're going to watch the middle of this video and like, whoa, it got a little heated. So I want to continue to be on the record of saying I am a big fan of the show and a big fan of Andy Lincoln. But your words are important, Andy. So let me say this to you. When you're wavering on your legacy and how to leave the show, and you say, I came up with something and I'm hoping it's going to work. Any death will not work. If you don't believe me, you could have called anybody here and we would have said, Andy, any death will not work. And how you translate that is important to the legacy of the show. And look, Angela Kang has to sign off on it. Scott Gimple has to sign off on it. Robert Kirkman gave him creative advice on that as well. So it's known and it's discussed. Epic, brutal. I think he lives. I think he lives. And the longer we go and the less that's leaked and the fact nobody's going on record and saying Rick dies, I still think that there's, and couple that with the Scott Gimple announcement, a big announcement. You know, there's very few things out there that constitute big announcements. And I asked you guys this last night, and a good percentage of our audience said a big announcement is a movie. I can't think of anything else. I don't think it's a new video game. It's not a new bobblehead. It's not a new short series. It's doubtful it's going to be another spinoff. It's going to get less viewers than Fear the Walking Dead. If it's big, it's got to be big. What's bigger than the big screen? It's got to be a movie. And John Brody chiming in says, what's up to the 999 Army? Patrons, mods, and super chatters. Let's be real, everyone in this chat would watch a Walking Dead movie. I agree. And, hey, you know what else? We didn't think about the reverse effect. We talk about how Walking Dead fans would go see a movie. Let me ask you this. Would big screen fans that were not Walking Dead fans go watch the movie and perhaps start watching the series afterwards? Would that be a nice marketing tool to get people to watch the show on television? I think it would. I think, you know, if one's true, the other one, it doesn't make it true, the opposite, but it definitely would, I think it would have an opportunity to get some viewers in. Because, you know, there's people that I talk to, and, you know, I ask them, like, are you a Walking Dead fan? No. You Game of Thrones fan? Yeah. You know, people have their own likes. And I do socialize and ask people that question on a regular basis. And I'm surprised by how many people have never watched The Walking Dead. Believe it or not, we're so passionate about it, but there's a whole lot of people. And the more people that would watch it, then the more people that would come here and talk about it. So I'm all for it. I think they make a good movie. They hype it up. Might be a good way, even if the movie is a semi-success and they gain an extra 2 or 3 million viewers. That's some long-term benefit. And with that, everybody, we have hit 1 hour and 3 minutes. It flew by. Good stuff, good news topics. Tomorrow we'll have brand new news because it's all coming out fast and furious. So I want to say thank you to each and every person that's here. If you have not hit that like button yet, just come on. What are you waiting on? Just do it. And you know what? If you didn't like what we talked about, hit the dislike button. Either way, take a stand. Stand for something. Either you had a good time or you didn't. All data is good data. So I want to start out by saying thank you to all the Patreons up in the top left-hand corner. Appreciate everything that you guys do supporting the channel. Also in the top right corner, all the sponsors of the channel. My moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for everything that you guys do. And tonight we had some super chatters in the house as well. So let me give a special shout out to all the super chatters. And their comments are a permanent part of this video. So I want to say what's up to Pete D, Jimmy's Jammin', Valar, Stephen Chip, Jennifer Flaherty, June Smith, Jason Mixologist Daily, Rhonda DeLuca, The Walking Dead Nerd, and John Brody. Thank you so much for not only spicing up the chat, but also your financial contribution to this channel. You guys are great. And the biggest shout out is for each and every person in this stream, the 999 Army. Give me a quick 999 so I can just shout out a whole bunch of people. And once again, there's a lot of people here. By the time this video goes live, 800 or 900 people will have been in and out the door, at least watching some portion of it. So, of course, I can't do that many shout-outs, but I will start out with Walani, Viola McGowan, Mitch True. Good to see you, Mitch. I haven't seen you in a little bit. Westwick 88 as well. I think that's my Detroit Lions fan, Westwick 88. I haven't seen you in a little while either. Donna Soward, Samantha Coombs, Maria Favada, DJ Domstott, Logan 5, Germ to Worm, Sinister 1, Uncle Creepy, Chris Riddle, DDA Ohio, Sherry Bentley, Pete D, always a pleasure, my man. That Pagan Life. See, you're not blocked, Pagan Life. I saw your comments on there. I don't know why you couldn't get in the last stream. Pete M, Hippo in the house, Stefanella, thank you. Shane Yutzi, Lakeisha Faison, Velcoro 77, Newfield 12, Real Dave Doherty, Paul Eagle, Kentrail Muhammad, Kimberly Smith, thank you so much. Tim Nino, appreciate you being here. Gina Crockett, Bumblebee Brown, Kim Ames, thank you, Kim. JPZ for real. JJ, thank you, Jamie Jordan. Another JJ, Joseph Jimenez. Lieutenant Ripley, have a good night. Slam Donkey, Dylan Herrig, Julie McGuire, Deborah Johnson, Maggie B, thank you so much, Maggie. Appreciate you. Deborah Cox. Patrick Ivers, have a good night. Thank you, Patrick. Kelly Golon Zenier, thank you, Kelly. Ron Burgundy Moore, have a good night. Northside Queen, thank you. Emma McCalick, Betty Jackson. Sorry, Miss Jackson, I am for real. Justin Barrett, have a good night. Trevor Koenig. DJ Domstott, thank you. Izola. Denise Staley. Sergeant Chosen One, Ron Burgundy Moore. Drama King, New York City. Got to get rid of that quarterback, Drama King. Should have taken a quarterback. Yeah, we are counting down, no doubt. Tracy Dees, thank you. Have a good night. We are counting down. A few days left, and it is going to be showtime. Thank you, Jimmy's Jam, and our mods are absolutely amazing. Dawn of the Frank, have a good night. The Walking Dead Nerd, and thank you for that link as well. Melinda Kettler, thank you. Have a good night. Crystal, the Singer Chick Gore, thank you. All right, everybody. Once again, I know I missed a ton of shout-outs, but I can't hit everybody in one night. If I missed you for any reason, shoot me a message on Kick or leave it in the comments. I've missed you like multiple streams. I'll try to do better next time. Appreciate everything you guys do. And once again, we'll have another shot at this tomorrow night to get it a little bit better. I'll see you at 9:30. Peace.